Stories of Great Christians. From its radio studios in Chicago, the Moody Bible Institute greets its friends everywhere with Chapter 6 in the transcribed story of Florence Nightingale, The Lady with the Lamp. Florence Nightingale had three paths from which to choose. She might have been a literary woman, a wife and mother, or a hospital nurse. She turned away from writing because God had called her to service, and writing seemed merely a way of commenting on life as led by another. Determining not to be married was a harder decision, especially when her family were all on the side of the suitor.
Now, Florence, let's try to be quiet and reasonable about this.
I don't see why the whole family
We're also interested in your future, Florence, that's why. There's only one thought uppermost in all our minds. What is best for you? Surely you understand.
Is it so strange, Flo, that those in your own family should be concerned?
After all, this is an important decision to make.
You're right. Absolutely right. All I ask is the privilege of making it myself.
Remember, Richard's no gawking boy to be brushed aside.
I'm not saying that at all. I admire Richard. Even more than that, I like him more than I can say. But my mind is made up. I'm not going to marry him.
Oh, don't be so impulsive, Flo. After all, think this over.
Because if I marry Richard, I must abandon once and for all the ideas I've had about nursing.
Really?
That's exactly what we want you to do.
And that's exactly what I cannot do.
But, my dear, your dream of nursing is so impractical. It's a wild vision. You may never be able to fulfill it.
Even so, I can't give it up. I'd rather give up Richard. And though I hate to disappoint you, that's just what I'm going to do.
This is a real treat, Florence. You haven't asked me to tea alone before.
Cream, Richard?
Yes, please. But I suspect there's something back of it. You have some special reason for asking me, don't you, Flo?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Well, out with it. Don't sit there staring into the cup as though it had snakes in it.
Is that what I was doing? Richard, you asked me for a definite answer to...
To a very important question, yes. Have you decided to marry me, Flo?
Just the opposite. Oh, you don't know how painful it is for me to tell you this. But I've decided that it's just impossible. I can't marry you.
Who is it?
What do you mean? It's not who. Oh.
Well, I've noticed that there are half a dozen young men around in whom you might be interested.
I'm not interested in anyone else.
Then I don't see
I'm
why...
not going to marry anyone, Richard. I tell you this in all sincerity. I feel called to a work, not a marriage.
Fantastic.
That's just what my family said. But fantastic as it is, I must persist in trying at least. I believe God has called me to dedicate my life to nursing, Richard, and I'm determined to do just that.
Flo, it's your nobility of soul that always attracted me. I love you for your goodness and for your very earnestness in wanting to help the poor, but...
But there can't be any but, Richard.
Why not? I'm not trying to say that I wouldn't keep you from devoting a great deal of time to the poor, to nursing, or whatever philanthropic work
The kind of work I want to do would utterly absorb me. All my time, all my energy. No, Richard. Marriage is not for me.
This seems incredible. If it were some tangible being that I could match wits against... But how can I fight a dream?
Believe me, I'm so devoted to that dream that I'm never going to be free again. My life is not my own to give you. It belongs to God.
All right. I'll accept this as my final answer then. You make me feel a little... I don't know how to put it. Like I'm in church.
Well, I hadn't meant to lecture.
This means goodbye then. God bless you in all you undertake. I hope He will one day grant you all your heart's desire.
But afterward, alone in my room, I didn't feel so sure of myself.
All alone, Flo?
Oh, just looking out across the lawn. The moonlight is so bright.
So bright you didn't want to light the lamp, I see.
How still everything is.
Yes. As though a magic spell has put all the world to sleep.
Like the enchanted castle in the fairy tale.
And you're the princess.
But my prince will never come riding up to the castle again.
Dear Flo. Why did you give him up when it makes you sad?
I had to. But I keep thinking, oh, Parthy, pray that I'll never see him again. If I had to do it over somehow, I don't think I'd have the courage. I am 30 now, the age at which Christ began his mission. Now no more childish things, no more vain things, no more love, no more marriage. Now, Lord, let me think only of thy will. I'm like an addict. I dream so much that often it seems like I'm divorced from reality. Even going to a party with Parthy. I don't want to dine and dance when there are the wretched and the poor. They're my brothers and my sisters. Oh, to have freedom to comfort some old woman who is dying, or to rescue an untaught child going astray.
Florence, early morning walks are just what you need. Seeing the loveliness God has made will soothe your spirit.
Dear Aunt Hannah, I'm so glad you've come to visit us. You're almost the only person I know that I can really talk to about God's will and God's way with us.
Florence, everything you do can be done to His glory. It isn't necessary to select some particular task and say, I'll do this for God or that for God. Let everything you do be done for Him.
But, Aunt Hannah, how can we excuse ourselves for some things we do, like living in luxury when there's so much misery all around us?
Oh, but a young lady is not called to remedy all the evils of this life. She must subject herself to her parents' wishes.
Oh, that's so hard, especially when the parents want her to do nothing that's worthwhile.
Overcoming that feeling is the first step toward success in your spiritual life, Florence.
Well, maybe you're right, Aunt Hannah. I really do love my mother, Parthy has been my companion all through life.
And now is a wonderful time to set aside your own wishes and serve God by helping them. Parthy's been very unwell, you know, Flo. And your mother's worn out with the added burdens and her tremendous social obligations.
God knows my heart. He knows that I don't want to be a rebellious daughter.
Talk to God about all this, won't you, Florence? And let him talk to you.
Let God talk to me. That's what I must do. I've been calling and pleading, but I haven't let God talk to me. So I let God talk to me. And strangely enough, he told me to do exactly the opposite of what Aunt Hannah had advised. Now, for the first time, I see that to be passively willing is not enough. I must do God's will actively with determination. I must take some things, as few as I can, to enable me to live. I must take them, they will not be given to me. Take them in a true spirit of doing thy will, not snatching them for my own will. Oh, I permitted myself to be treated as a child, but now I won't allow it any more. Lord, I promise thee, I will no longer be treated as a child. That's why when Papa and I had our next serious discussion together, and Papa, Baron Bunsen himself is thinking of sending his daughter there.
Is he really?
You remember the Sidney Herberts visited Kaiserworth too when they were in Germany?
I do seem to recall it.
And they had nothing but the highest praises for the institution. Pastor Fliedner, he's the founder and the director. Why, he's a completely devoted man.
You sound very convincing, my dear.
Really, Papa. The whole history of the place is one of devotion and sacrifice. Mr. Fliedner became interested in his wife because she was working among lost women in reform prisons there.
So they opened a place of their own?
Yes. They started very humbly by taking in a single destitute discharged prisoner and turning their summer house into a refuge for her.
And now it's grown into quite an extensive work.
Yes. It has a hospital with 100 beds, an infant school, a penitentiary, an orphan asylum, and a normal school for training schoolmistresses.
That's my Flo, always with the figures on the tip of her tongue.
Besides the Bunsens and the Herberts, there are the Bracebridges who've approved. They think Kaiserworth is the very place, and that I ought to go.
To go?
Yes, Papa. You know that Parthy's not well, and Mamma's planning to take her to the Carlsbad baths.
Yes, I know. But what does that have to do with Kaiserworth?
Well, Kaiserworth is very close. I could go with Mamma and Parthy to Carlsbad, leave them there and go on to Kaiserworth alone. And when they get ready to come home, I could rejoin them at Carlsbad.
Sounds practical. And after all, Fanny can't say that a plan approved by the Bunsens, Bracebridges, and Herberts is terribly wrong.
Then I have your permission.
Yes, Flo. You have your heart set on it. And it seems all right. I don't know what your mother will say, but... Yes, Florence, you have my permission.
And so we conclude Chapter 6 in the transcribed story of Florence Nightingale, The Lady with the Lamp. This is another in the series of Stories of Great Christians, which come to you from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.